Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This is your 2025 forecast. So we're going to see what's going on in 2025 for you, what's happening in the year ahead, everything you need to be aware of. We're getting into all of it. And today we have a selection of crystals for you to choose from. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. And basically you're going to see which of these crystals is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments in the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted readings about who is coming towards you, more specific details about the early part of 2025, and what you can do to get abundance and blessings into your life. There is so much content to choose from over on Patreon. Like I said, over 100 readings exclusive to Patreon, and you also get to be the first to watch my YouTube readings. So if that sounds good to you and you're interested in signing up, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, open channeling, a combination, you get to really customize your session with me so it's the perfect reading for you. So if that sounds good to you and you'd like to book a slot with me, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So that's about all I have to say, guys. If you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey pile one, welcome to your 2025 forecast. So you guys got the Princess of Swords, aka the Page of Swords, the Six of Wands, Seven of Swords, the Tower, the Three of Wands, and the Sun card. So there's a major focus on expanding hobbies or interests. For some of you guys, you may literally become known or like an expert in your field. That's a major theme of 2025. I feel like professional expansion and elevating your reputation. The Six of Wands shows you guys might be celebrated. People may start hearing your name or knowing of you, or you might get some kind of reputation. I feel like this is connected with hobbies because there is the Princess of Swords, the Page of Swords, or your professional work. I feel like there is an acclaim for you, but it's not necessarily just going to come through like looks or just personality, but it's going to come through something you do. It's going to come through something that you offer to the world, or some kind of knowledge you have, or some kind of wisdom. And I feel like this year is about really claiming that mantle and no longer holding yourself back. I actually feel like this is the year you guys are going to be completely brutally honest with yourselves about what you want in life. With the Seven of Swords coming through, I'm getting that there may have been a truth that you guys didn't fully want to see or acknowledge. There may have been something that you were kind of running away from. That could also be this Tower moment that we see as well. So there may be something that I feel like has to fall first in order for you guys to really reach your success. There may be something that has to be ruined and then rebuilt. And I feel like this is something you've almost been clinging onto for a while, or something that you have been very attached to and kind of afraid, like, how am I going to do this on my own? Like, how will I make it? Will I be okay? And I feel like the message coming through is absolutely yes, you will be okay. And actually, I feel once this thing is released, there's this overwhelming sense of freedom and relief. It's like, oh my God. And you almost don't even realize you've been dragging around an anchor. You know, this is a funny image, but Spirit is showing me how, like, when you were in high school or middle school or maybe even college, and you'd have like a backpack and you'd have all these heavy books in your backpack and notepads and stuff, and you'd end up like carrying that around with you, and then at the end of the school day, like taking it off, or maybe like just a day when you were like, oh yeah, we don't really need the books today, so I'll just unload these and I won't have anything. And like that difference in that feeling where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I've been carrying this around. I can't believe, or if you're an adult, that feeling of like putting down a really heavy purse that's just stuffed with things. Or if you've ever made the mistake of trying to like walk somewhere and you have a really heavy purse, like maybe you had to go to work, you have your briefcase with you, or you have your laptop with you or something. And then someone calls you and is like, oh, let's go to this cafe. And you walk there, and then you have to walk somewhere another time and you're like, oh my God, this walk is actually so much easier. I didn't realize how heavy that was. And that's the image I'm seeing for you guys, of there's something that you're going to be releasing, letting go of. I feel like what I'm getting with this is it's something about wishful thinking. Like there's something that you don't quite like a situation and you keep trying to like alchemize it, apply wishful thinking, think of the best, hope for the best. And you keep hoping that it's going to be a different outcome. And I feel like in 2025, honestly, there's just a release of that. It's almost like someone that also decides, or like I'm seeing this image of an inventor and they keep trying to invent the same thing and they keep failing. And then they like invent something else by accident, like you'll hear stories like someone invented, I don't know, a light bulb or something, and they were trying to make something completely different, but then they're like, oh, wait, this actually works as giving light. And anyway, I feel like, part of it is having that bravery to be willing to step into that new thing and be like, oh, okay, this is actually the path that I should be on. And even though I really wanted this other thing, but this path is easier for me, this path is better, this is what's aligning for me, so I'm going to embrace that. And I feel like that's the energy you're bringing into 2025. And there is a turning point. Like the beginning of the year may be a little bit harder for you because I feel like there's still a wishful thinking, clinging to something, hoping it's going to work out, hoping, oh, it's going to be different. Or, it's kind of like going into the same job, you hate the job, but you keep hoping, maybe my boss is going to be in a really good mood today and she's going to actually like me, and maybe she's going to see how hard I've been working and she's going to give me that promotion. And then just deciding like, actually, I could just apply somewhere else. I don't have to work at the same job. I don't have to keep trucking along here and hoping that something changes. And just kind of accepting the situation for what it is and how empowering that is, instead of wanting and hoping someone else changes, realizing you have the power to either accept or deny behavior or a situation. And you can say, no, that's not for me. And, that will always alchemize. And this is so funny. Spirit just popped this into my head so strongly, and it's kind of specific and weird, but I'm going to say it because I mentioned it before, but I have a sibling who's got like a lot of Jupiter in their chart, a lot of Sagittarius energy, and they're super lucky. And anyway, we would always, literally, we'd have to ban them in our family from like entering any raffle, any contest, because my mom would get calls like, you guys want a cruise, you guys want a vacation. And if we even went to like this, there would be this little cake raffle we'd go to at this little fair nearby, and she would be limited from entering more than like 3 times. Because if she entered 6 times, we'd win 6 cakes. And meanwhile, no one else would be like winning. Maybe one person would win 1 cake and she'd win 6 times in a row. She's just very lucky, right? And when I think about this person, and Spirit just showed me this so strong, I also am thinking about how she's very picky about things. Like she's not the kind of person that you can just bring whatever energy to. Like if someone wants to be her friend, but she gets a shady vibe from them, she's on to the next, right? That's something for me that I feel like I was always like, wow, like I can't believe she's telling my parents she doesn't want to go out to dinner and just bring her back some takeout. Because I wouldn't necessarily even like, feel comfortable. Like I'd be like, oh, they're going to forget about me if I don't go to dinner or something. Anyway, my point is I think that like those two things go hand in hand, right? When we expect the best, when we know there's more options, when we have that feeling of like inner contentment or inner security, or just like, I know that I'm going to get what I want, I know I'm going to have the best, then that becomes a reality. Because it was so crazy how many times she'd win, how many times she'd get, like it was like this inside joke, like anything, any kind of prize, any kind of raffle, she'd win, you know? And honestly, so much of that is an energy and a mindset of expecting the best, expecting more, and knowing we deserve the best. And I feel like that is going to be the change that happens in you that like switches everything, alchemizes it, so you guys are able to have this life. It's almost like you are stepping out of this scarcity mindset where you think there's only one thing that can work, or it has to look a certain way, or oh my God, I need to make this work, to realizing there's so many options. The universe has a million ways for you to succeed or for you to find success. And that's, I think, the theme of the rest of the year. So once you get through this tower moment, once you get through this kind of being honest with yourself energy with the Seven of Swords, and you're willing to be bold and you have that inner faith, that's what's really coming through, is like this inner faith, this inner confidence. You guys got the Sun card, so you're going to be believing in yourself, feeling yourself, coupled next to the Three of Wands. Once that happens, I feel like it's like the sky is the limit, and then it's like boom, a lot of success. And it may involve some kind of change, tweaking, doing something a little different. Again, I'm being shown that image of like the inventor, and he keeps working on the same invention, but then there's a moment when he realizes, oh, I could pivot to this other invention and this would work even better. And it's having the bravery to be willing to embrace that and do that. So that's a major theme I feel like is coming in for you guys. Let me get into some more cards for pile number one. Let's see what is going to be happening for pile one in 2025. Ooh, financial health. That is a card we definitely love to see, and I definitely see a lot of success happening for you guys. We do have the Sun card, which is so positive. So yeah, I feel like once you get rid of those shackles, the anchor, the albatross around your neck, you are going to be stepping into a lot more financial success. You are going to be stepping in for a lot more success overall, a lot of happiness, a lot of contentment, maybe even a feeling of mastery or a feeling of success and respect and acclaim in your field or in your hobby. Like maybe if you have been, I don't know, self-publishing novels and all your novels are low on the list or whatever, and your next book that you write at the latter part of 2025 jumps up to number one in your genre. It's that kind of vibe of like, oh wow, people are noticing me. People are paying attention. With the Six of Wands, it can definitely be people celebrating you, paying attention to you, noticing you, wanting to enjoy with you, just taking note of you in a way that they haven't before. So you may feel like the rest of 2025, I'm actually feeling as well like it may get a lot busier for you, especially if things have been stagnant or kind of slow. You may have a very busy latter half of 2025, and I feel like you are going to be just doing a lot, busy, dealing with a lot, and yeah, you may feel like kind of you have your hands full, but I feel like it's in a good way because you love what you're doing, you enjoy it, you have fun with it. So it doesn't feel like as much of a burden, and it feels a lot more fulfilling to be so busy and to have your schedule a little bit packed. Let's get into some more cards for pile number one. Confidence. That is so true for you guys. Like a lot of this is just that inner confidence of knowing, like I said, for that lucky person I'm talking about, I feel like when I think about it, it was always someone who never had a scarcity mindset, someone who always believed in the abundance and always believed that, of course I would win. Like that became an expectation, became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even in our family, for everyone else, we would make jokes about it because we all knew it was going to happen. And that probably spurred it on more. When I think about this person, I always think of an unfailing sense of self, inner belief, even when maybe other people doubted them or other people didn't get it. I feel like this person was always willing to stand up for themselves, bet on themselves, trust their own intuition. And that's so important. So much of the time when we find ourselves out of alignment, when we find ourselves accepting less than we deserve, it's because we don't think there's more, or we don't think we can ask for more, or we don't think we deserve that, right? And that's why it's really important to change our inner beliefs so that we're like, of course I should get that. Of course I should get that promotion. Of course I should get that title. Why not me? And I feel like as well, some of you guys are going to be expanding your knowledge field. You may literally be going back to school, taking a course, doing a mentorship. But I feel like you are definitely increasing your confidence and mastery in this field, and just really trusting yourself, just really like listening to your own inner voice on this and learning as well. Like I feel like another thing is it's kind of like once you master the basics of something, then you can have more fun with it, right? Like if you're a cook or a chef and you're just beginning and you still don't know how to dice vegetables, you may have a passion for food, but it's still going to take time to figure out like what food flavors pair with other flavors and what, how long you should cook things without them burning or being undercooked. So it takes a while to figure it out. And then once you have mastered that and you've learned to like dice vegetables perfectly, I read this super interesting article about how like they train chefs, and part of it is like training them to cut carrots and celery and everything into these perfect amounts. Like the carrots in like the 5-star restaurants are like perfect little squares, all the same size. And if you miscut or make it a little too chunky or one a little too thin, then you have to like recut the whole thing. And I thought that was so interesting. So once you get that mastery, then it's like you can have fun. You can start playing with flavors. You can start mixing around. And I feel like that's another thing you guys are going to be doing. It's like you get so good at it that it's like, oh, this is kind of second nature. This is easy for me. This is fun for me. This is no longer a burden or something I'm scrapping away at, trying to figure out, trying to get good at, and not feeling so confident. But this is something like, I got this. I am in my zone. I can handle it, Let's see. What is happening for pile 1 in 2025? Okay, so we got lighten your load, animals, and justice. So again, I already spoke about literally seeing that image of someone lightening their load, taking off a heavy bag, a heavy backpack, and just being like, oh, wow, this is so much easier. I'm also sensing a vibe for some of you guys that you may be moving homes. Maybe some of you guys could even be like adopting an animal or getting some kind of pet. But I feel like there's also this energy of settling in and really learning to feel more settled, feel more comfortable. I feel like if there has been like legal issues troubling some of you guys, of course, this is not legal advice, but it may be something that goes away, or you just get a sense of closure, or kind of like, okay, I don't have to worry about this as much. I feel like there's a sense of things working out for you and things unfolding in a way that you really, really are happy with and that you really, really like. I feel like for you guys, you're also, again, just feeling more comfortable in general. So with your career, you may feel more comfortable kind of being more authentic and honest, or you just feel like you know what you're doing and you're kind of in your zone. And as well at home, I feel like you're starting to kind of really make it into a home. You may have extra money to spend on renovations or on decoration, and you may really take the time out to make sure it's like the exact home you want, like not decorating things with just, oh, I got this, like a friend of mine gave this couch to me, or I bought this from IKEA. I just bought everything. I just went on a big trip and just threw everything in the cart. And yeah, but like choosing items that you really love and bring you so much satisfaction. I also am getting a vibe for some of you guys that there could be like new love coming in, or even a new family member. For some of you guys, even like I'm seeing like a pregnancy or a new child, something like that. I feel like you're also settling into this new reputation or this new identity that gives you. So maybe if you've been single for a while, it's like, oh, suddenly I'm partnered and I'm in a relationship and I'm part of that. Or now I'm a mom, or now I'm a dad. I feel like that changes your life, and you also have that affecting your day-to-day schedule. So I feel like now maybe you have someone to like go do the things with, go to the movies with instead of going by yourself, or you have a child and they're dictating your schedule a little bit. But there's definitely that energy of kind of being a lot busier, and also realizing that you're more capable of things. If you thought like, oh, I'm always going to be single, then this year may really challenge that. Or if you thought I could never like be a mom, that's just, I don't know, it's not me, that's just crazy. You may find yourself like up late, feeding the baby and being like, actually, I really enjoy this. I really like this. But I do feel like there's a lot of busyness and a lot of activity coming in towards the end of the year. Let's get into these cards. For pile 1, what's happening in 2025? Okay. The healing heart, love, acceptance, romance. And I think we just spoke about that. I definitely could see a relationship coming in for those of you guys who have been single. This one is confusion, past, known, unknown, future, many choices, uncertainty, thought vibrations, resonant choices, signature signals, beneath the surface, hidden truth, something unknown. And I just got a really specific message for some of you guys, especially my spiritual girls or spiritual guys. I feel like in a way, for those of you guys who have been really focused on doing shadow work, doing esoteric work, delving deep into things for the past few years and really feeling like you had to kind of go through the ringer on this and like maybe even being in hermit mode or just feeling like I have to do this spiritual work, I'm very focused on that, you may find you're much more present in physical reality. So you may find that you're not doing as much heavy shadow work and you're more engaged in day-to-day life. And this could be the benefit, again, like I said, of having your schedule get a lot busier, even though sometimes we don't love to see a really busy schedule, or at least I don't. I'm a Pisces. We're kind of lazy. But sometimes, yeah, if I have a lot to do, I'm like, oh God. But even though that may be a little daunting or overwhelming, I feel like it's taking you more into the world. If you have been like kind of hiding out or kind of like staying away from things, there may be things coming in to just pull you into physical reality. Kind of like I'm seeing Taurus highlighted, that second house and earth energy in general, where we're very present in this earth. That's why they're earth signs. And they're not as concerned with like the esoteric, but it's more like the daily realities of things. So I feel like that's something that really makes you engage and kind of pushes you to your limit. If you have been kind of in a safety zone, in your comfort zone, feeling like, okay, I always go to the same places, I have the same friends, I know my schedule. I feel like there's things coming in to really throw that for a loop and to kind of make you be like, oh, I never expected this, or I never saw myself doing this. So it could be like moving to a new city or getting a new friend group and they're always inviting you out. And I feel like you're kind of pushing yourself. Like, let me really, really, really kind of go to my limit. Like maybe I'm not sleeping as much. Maybe I'm a little tired. Maybe I'm waking up early. Or maybe usually I like to have my daily nap, or I just kind of like veg out on the couch each night, but now I'm going out, or I have a job that takes me out, or I'm having to travel a lot with my job. And I feel like you're a lot busier, but you're also enjoying so much more and you're learning a lot, even if you're not spending as much time in like quiet meditation. And so Spirit wants you to know that if that happens, that's okay. That's still its own form of growth. And I feel like one thing that's coming through is like, this is going to be such a productive year for you guys in 2025. I feel like you're going to look back on this year and be like, wow, I did so much. I did a lot. I alchemized a lot. I worked. I pushed myself. And not just in a way that's difficult or hard or just like a slog of like, oh God, this is hard. But like, I was busy. I was booked and busy. I was doing a lot. I was running around and I accomplished a lot. It's almost like one of those days, like a cleaning day or a day when you just do all the housework you've been putting off. And you almost can't believe like I did that many things. I did the laundry. I deep cleaned the kitchen. I hung up those paintings I've been meaning to hang up with. I called my friend and talked to her while I was like mopping the floors. And then I also, switched out the duvet and I did this. And then you look back and you're like, I literally tackled everything. And it's such a feeling of satisfaction. So I feel like this year, again, very productive. You guys are getting a lot done. You're covering a lot. You're doing a lot. And by the end of it, I feel like you're going to feel such a sense of satisfaction. Let me get into some astro dice for you. Pile number 1. 7th house, okay. Leo and Jupiter, okay. And one thing I also want to mention for you is this just came through so strong. Your discernment is getting so strong this year in the sense that in the past, I feel like you really gave people the benefit of the doubt. You used to really be very easygoing about things and maybe sometimes a little too easygoing. I'm not going to lie. Like maybe if someone was acting shady to you or someone wasn't fully honest with you, you'd kind of make excuses or be like, yeah, but they didn't say it like that or whatever. And I feel like this month you're really able to read people. Like you're really able to see deeply into them and their intentions, and you trust those messages the first time. You're no longer putting yourself on the back burner or in the back seat or kind of like deferring to everyone else. Like it's almost like what I'm seeing is, have you ever like let someone go ahead of you in like a store or something? Maybe they just have like one item or something and you're like, "Oh, please go ahead." And instead of saying thank you or being like, "Oh, yeah, that's nice of you. Okay, thanks." They just kind of like ignore you and walk past, and there's that sense of like, I should never have let that person, even if it's petty. You're like, I wish I could snatch my spot back. But yeah, I feel like it's like you're not going to be doing stuff like that anymore. Maybe that was a habit for you, prioritizing other people. And I feel like you're able to get so much more done because some of that noise is fading into the background and you're really focusing on yourself, your goals, your dreams. And it's very, very exciting. So we got Jupiter, we got Leo, and we got the seventh house. So again, with that Jupiter energy, again, I'm thinking of that person that I know in my life who has so much Jupiter, so much Sagittarius energy, and is just super, super lucky. And I think one thing I see in Jupiter placements, be they Sagittarius or Pisces, is there's often this expectation of abundance. You know, that can mean Sagittarians get themselves in crazy situations. They like travel internationally and they don't speak the language, or they don't know the like food or anything, and they're just like now having to navigate this new place. Or in Pisces, kind of like forgetting stuff and being like, oops, I don't have my wallet, but whatever, I'll get through it. But either sign, both of them tend to navigate with this sense of trust and abundance in the universe. So they always feel like things are just going to magically work out, and they do. A lot of Sagittarians, Sagittarius placements people, Jupiter placement people are super lucky. Pisces is like the wealthiest sign. So a lot of times it does work out. And I feel like for you, what this sense of trust in is not just in the universe, but it's in yourself and your own worth. And anything that has been holding you back in fear, anything that you have been like, I don't know if I can do that, I really want that, but I'm not sure if I'm good enough, that is going out the window. And you are fully trusting in yourself, fully betting in yourself this year. We also have Leo. Again, that's all about self-inner belief. That's the fifth house of hobbies as well. And that's something I really see highlighted for you, is really gaining mastery in some kind of a hobby or some kind of an arena where you're thinking, where you're doing what you love. Maybe it's like a niche interest of yours, but I feel like you are really stepping out also maybe with your career, but you're really stepping into center stage and prioritizing yourself and putting yourself first. That's such a major theme for you. Then we also have that seventh house of relationships, aka Libra. And seventh house of relationships is where we find love, marriage, soulmates, partnership. So I really do feel like a lot of you guys may be meeting a major significant other, or if you already have a significant other, deepening that commitment, maybe getting engaged or married or having a kid or something like that. But I feel like you are really kind of trusting that, and maybe even raising your standards with who you'll date, what you'll put up with. Not what you'll date, what you'll put up with though. And I feel like that is really coming through. Like there's this sense of sharing a life with someone else, but also putting yourself first. So that is what I have for you, pile number one. I really hope that resonates, guys. If it does, you can head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. I just posted readings about who is stepping towards you and also what you have to do to succeed and get your blessings and abundance. There are so many readings to choose from. We also go into early 2025 in greater detail. If any of those readings sounds good to you, or you want, again, that early access to all my YouTube videos, want to be the first to see my YouTube videos, then head on over to my Patreon, and the link for that is under the timestamps in the description and in the comments. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, just channeling, a combination, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live. You get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect session for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the King of Swords, the Seven of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, the Moon, the Eight of Wands, and the Princess of Cups. So the first thing I'm hearing is there may be someone from your past coming back. You either may be in a relationship with this person, or you guys start things back up again, or you just get closure on this. I feel like some of you guys are very connected to someone from your past, and there's almost like that a cord there, a very strong cord there. This person may just be thinking of you a whole lot in 2025. But the first thing that's coming up is there may be some kind of reunion, some kind of reaching out, some kind of conversation that it almost feels like is long overdue and needs to take place. And I feel like there's actually a lot of love here that has never really been fully addressed or verbalized. And I feel like there is a sense of closure or healing that happens when this conversation does take place. And there's a big sense of release afterwards. So however it goes, whether it's like this is a romantic person from your past and you guys decide to date afterwards, or this is like a family member you haven't talked to in a while and you still decide to go your separate ways, but you are glad you talked it out. I feel like afterwards, it's almost like there's this sense of being able to move on or something that's no longer holding you back. I do feel like a lot of you guys who picked this pile are very psychic, very intuitive. So one of the problems when you are so psychic and intuitive and you don't have those boundaries up yet is that someone who's thinking of you all the time or ruminating on you, or they have a really strong cord to you, is able to often access your subconscious whenever they want, whether you want that or not. So some of this may just be that you no longer feel like you're constantly thinking of this person, or they pop into your head all the time, or why am I thinking about them? I don't even care, but like they just keep getting into my head. And I feel like that is released and that really goes away. And then you're able to just kind of flow and live your life and focus on yourself. So that's a major thing that I think happens in 2025 and gives you a really great sense of closure. However this goes, I do feel like it's going to be very positive. So if this is someone that you want a romantic connection with, it could be that you guys do decide to get into a romantic relationship, or you guys do decide to give it a second shot. If this is someone that you're like, I really don't want this person in my life, it may just be that you kind of talk something out and then you guys go your separate ways. But I feel like however it goes, you're very happy with the outcome and you feel very like released from that. You feel very like, okay, I settled that. There's also an energy for some of you guys of like revisiting somewhere or revisiting something from your past that you didn't necessarily get closure on. I do feel like for some of you guys, this could have to do with Pluto moving into Aquarius, or possibly Saturn transits as well. So for some of you guys, this could connect back to when Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008, something that happened around then, or something that has to do with those themes. So you may look to see what house Capricorn rules and what house Pluto in Capricorn really addressed for you, and then see what that theme of that house is, because I feel like in a way it has to do with that. So it's almost like if Pluto in Capricorn was in your fourth house of family, you may go visit your family. If it was in your 10th house of career and you had some really impactful career event, you might visit like your old workplace, or if it was in your 9th house of school, you might visit your college. So yeah, I feel like there's something about this like coming to a close. Again, more longer term transits that I feel like you're getting a really amazing closure on, and there's a real sense of healing and being released. I do feel like another major theme for you guys this year is getting more into your psychic abilities and psychic gifts. I feel like that is coming through really strong. We did get the moon card, which is ruled by Cancer in astrology, but Pisces in the tarot. So I do feel like for you guys, there is a strong sense of getting some kind of psychic gifts, some kind of intuitive ability, maybe being able to like do some kind of new psychic gift. Like I'm seeing someone doing a tea leaf reading, or scrying, staring into water, or getting a crystal ball, or doing something that maybe you've never done before, or you haven't trusted yourself. And I feel like even though this is my psychic pile that is already probably, very gifted in this arena, it's almost like you're deepening your gifts, you're getting better at it, and you're also, like I said, trusting yourself more and really leaning into it. So some of you guys may even take a course course or sign up for some kind of mentorship, sign up for some kind of learning in this arena. And I feel like you're trusting yourself more. You may even start having people reach out to you for psychic guidance, whether they actually verbalize it like that and say like, hey, can you give me a psychic reading? Or they may just start pouring out their problems to you about like their ex-boyfriend and being like, well, what do you think? What's your opinion? I really want to hear what you have to say. But I feel like a lot of it is because you are radiating this kind of witchy, psychic moon energy. I'm seeing the goddess of the moon, Rhiannon, in ancient Celtic and Druidic traditions. That's Rhiannon. Of course, there's other deities in different cultures, but I feel like a lot of you guys are very close to that, or you guys are just radiating that vibe, this kind of like energy that people can just tell that you're intuitive. They can tell that they can trust you. They can tell that they can open up to you. So you may also find people start kind of telling you their business a lot, and you may have to learn to actually put up some energetic boundaries this year. And like if someone starts kind of trauma dumping or telling you all their business, you may have to really learn to start being like, oh, you know, I actually have somewhere to go. I can't talk right now or something. And just learning how to like downplay that or kind of just like off put it, because it may, you know, occupy a lot of your time, where you may just find like, oh my God, I can't go anywhere. Or I go on a date and the first thing the person starts crying to me about their ex-girlfriend. I also think intuitive people can sometimes attract, or they energetically magnetize to them, people who are like wounded or have issues that need healing. And I do feel like you're giving off that healer energy. So sometimes the universe may align you with those people. And if you don't feel like doing a bunch of free, unpaid psychic labor, you may have to make it into kind of like a practice or a normal routine of yours, that you will put up a boundary or say like, oh, you know, I really have somewhere to go, or I don't really want to talk about exes right now, to be honest with you, or say something to kind of put up a little bit of a wall, because I do feel like you're really going to be radiating that energy. And you also got the Princess of Cups. So people are really going to be picking up on this. You also may feel like you have a lot of creativity. The Cups energy is super creative. The Princess of Cups, aka the Page of Cups, is very creative. So you may feel like you are suddenly just filled with a lot of ideas when it comes to like creative things. So you may feel like overwhelmed with some kind of plot line for a book or a novel, or you may feel like suddenly you are filled with ideas for like a YouTube channel or something, to create a YouTube channel, or you want to start doing photography, or you want to start painting. But I definitely feel like you are very, very creative and kind of overwhelmed or overflowing with ideas at this year during this time in your life. And you may have to make it into a routine. I'm seeing actually like a pot overflowing. So I feel like if you don't learn to kind of get this out or create a space for this creative energy in your life, it may even bleed into other areas. So like you may find yourself distracted at work because you just keep hearing this song in your head, and you want to go home and write it down. And so you make it into like a routine that like, okay, I'm going to do songwriting every night, or I'm going to write in my journal, or I'm going to paint, and I'm going to seek that out. And again, I feel like you may even change your aesthetic. You may feel really inspired creatively in terms of your fashion and in terms of how you want to kind of dress and adorn yourself. And this is a perfect time for that with Pluto going into Aquarius. I think the whole collective is going to be embracing more individuality. So it's a great, great time for you to do this actually. But yeah, I feel like you are going to have so many ideas when it comes to like how you want to dress. You may just feel really creative, and you may also, I'm hearing, feel the need to share that with the world. So if you have been thinking of creating like a style TikTok, or showing off your clothing and creating like little fashion vlogs on YouTube, that may be something that you really embrace in 2025. And I do feel like it has the potential to be very successful, because again, I feel like you're really radiating out this energy. People can sense it from you. They know you're creative. They kind of want to get a little dash of this mystique that surrounds you. And the Princess of Cups, Page of Cups definitely has a lot of mystique. You may also be very charismatic this year. You may really have a way with your words, and I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be able to attract kind of whoever you want to date. So you may be attracting a lot of different dating partners, romantic partners, definitely that King of Swords energy. So you may end up attracting for some of you guys, like older men or men who are very like smart, intelligent businessmen, kind of like maybe a little bit of a dry personality or something, and they may love that you're very creative and kind of nurturing. But I feel like overall, you're going to be attracting all kinds of people. Like you are just going to be really giving off a super creative, super charismatic and interesting vibe. Like so many people are just going to be very drawn to you. They're just going to see you as like the most interesting person at the party, you know, someone who they just don't know what it is, but they want to know something about you. You just have this charisma. I'm also seeing some air travel for a lot of you guys. So you may be flying around. Travel could be a theme for you in this year. You may be traveling to different locations, really exploring. You may move to somewhere that's like very different. I feel like also, again, creativity, going off the beaten track, kind of exploring is going to be a theme for you if you are traveling. So you may not choose just to go to like the place everyone else goes to or the place that's very popular in your area or your region for vacation, but you may choose to go somewhere like completely off the beaten track that not a lot of people have been to. Maybe they don't have a ton of hotels or tourism. And I feel like you're very much exploring. There's also the potential for romance with your travels. So like meeting someone while you're on vacation or having like a summer fling or something. I do feel like if you do have a summer fling, like you're going to be the one who probably ends it, or you're going to be the one who's like in control, or choosing to make things not as serious. I feel like there is this lighthearted energy around you guys. So you may really choose to be single this year unless you meet someone who's absolutely amazing. I feel like you're really giving off a vibe of like focusing on your life, your hobbies, your interests, and how much you love and enjoy your life. It feels like this is a very fun year for you, but you're also very invested in learning with this Eight of Pentacles as well. You may be invested in your career and you may start seeing some payoff from that. Not necessarily like huge advancements, but I feel like you're seeing some payoff. You're getting a reputation. Again, for some of you guys, it could be graduating. I feel like there's a lot of work happening and kind of mastery that you guys are accruing in your career. Let me get into some of these cards for you. Pile number 2, we want to know what's happening for pile 2 in 2025. Okay, so we got truth. So there may be some kind of truth that gets revealed to you this year. I also feel like you're going to become a truth teller or some kind of truth seeker, or it's like you are going to have such an amazing BS detector. Like you're like a human lie detector this year. You can totally tell when someone's trying to finesse you, when someone is trying to get one over on you. I feel like this year it's like you can read people like a book. And again, a lot of this is maybe you've had these latent psychic gifts and maybe somehow they're being activated. This Pluto transit or this Saturn transit, because Spirit is highlighting both of those, could be going through your 4th house, your 8th house, or your 12th house. So some of you guys could really be kind of deepening those psychic abilities and really getting into how you kind of operate in the world or how you read people or how you get those messages and downloads and paying attention to that, really listening and really finding that suddenly those things come to the surface more than they ever did. There's a lot of soul growth work that happens when you go through a transit through like a water house, like a 4th house, 8th house, 12th house. And I feel like some of you guys are really having those areas highlighted, and it's almost like you're being forced to confront those issues. You're being forced to really look deep into yourself and look deep into others and not ignore anything that you used to in the past. So yeah, I feel like spirituality is just a major focus for you. And I'm hearing not the fun kind, although it is going to be fun, but I also feel like you're doing so much deep work and you're really learning to pay attention, learning to listen. I'm also hearing a message for some of you guys that there may be someone that you like have a falling out with, or someone in your group or in your life or in your field that you realize didn't have your best intentions. I'm seeing the 12th house highlighted, which is a house of enemies. And you know, the 12th house also obscures, it also kind of like hides and cloaks things, and it's a house of kind of mystery and confusion. So a lot of times it can be those enemies that we don't always see at first, or we think they like us, or we think we're cool with them, and then later they stab us in the back. And I feel like for some of you guys, it's like there is this discernment happening with that. There is this kind of painful, also the 12th house is a house of endings. So I feel like for some of you guys, there's things that you're really releasing, letting go of, that maybe you thought would always be in your life, or someone that you thought was your bestie, or someone that you thought was always going to be around. And now it's like, okay, I have to admit that actually this person doesn't really have my best interest at heart, or this person doesn't really help me, the way I thought, or this person, I don't know, when I told them the good news, they weren't smiling. So I feel like you're going to be much more discerning this year about who you allow into your space, and maybe even doing some kind of a purge or a cleansing. I'm hearing for some of you guys that energy's already started of the people around you, being very picky with that. Maybe even cleansing your space or cleansing any items. I feel like you're so psychic that it's like you can tell the energy that's attached to an item. So if you like bought something at an estate sale and you've always had it hanging in your living room, you might suddenly look at it and be like, oh, there's a really nasty energy attached to this painting, and decide to get rid of it. But yeah, you're very intuitive this year. Let's see what other cards we're going to get. Let's get one more. Love. What a beautiful energy. And I definitely sense, again, a lot of that charisma. You're going to be able to attract whoever you want. Spirit guide. And let's get one more. Career. Okay. So love. I definitely feel, and this one actually just wanted to come out, so we'll do that too, healing. But yeah, I do feel like there's a deep potential for love. And if some of you guys have been settling for relationships where you haven't felt like you could be completely truthful, transparent, and honest, I feel like that is going out the window, and you are really going to find that you're in relationships where you can keep it 100. You can be completely blunt. You can be completely honest. You can be your truest self, and you don't have to hide that. I also feel like for some of you guys, this could be about attracting a very supportive partner, or if you already have a partner and you don't feel like that partner is fully supportive of you all the time, being willing to have those kind of hard conversations, or say like, hey, I really need you to help me cook at the end of the night, because it's like I can't cook every time, dinner. I'm tired too, and why should I have to do that, or whatever. Or you need to like stop playing video. Don't invite me over to hang out and then you just play video games. Like, that's just not acceptable. Like, being willing to be completely honest, or look at situations, or I feel like you are gonna, again, whenever you have this healing energy, sometimes you can attract people that need healing, may not be fully healed, may have their own issues. And I feel like for you, you are going to really learn that you need to put yourself first, that you need to prioritize your peace, and that you do deserve to have that. And there's going to be a lot of healing that happens in that arena for you. You're also probably, again, maybe picking up a meditation ritual, some kind of spiritual practice. Maybe you pull a daily tarot card or something, getting in touch with your spirit guides. I'm seeing someone doing moon rituals, or maybe even creating like an altar or some kind of spiritual space. I'm seeing someone else redesigning their apartment with feng shui. But I do feel like you're very in touch with your spiritual side, maybe even doing like a retreat or a vacation attached to that, because I do see a lot of travel with you. So maybe doing like a yoga retreat or something. And again, with your career, I feel like your career is going well. And you overall have this mystique, even that bleeds into your career, where people are like, what is pile number 2 doing? They just seem so peaceful. They just seem so evolved. There just seems like there's something different about them, Let's get into some of these cards for you. Pile number 2. So we got letting go of urgency, surrender, freedom from time constraints, elementals, nature spirits, the 4 elements. Okay. This is happening for pile 2 in 2025, spirit. This one is personal guide, guardian angel, spirit family. And let's get one more card. This one is animal totems, animal energy, and powers. So animals may be very attracted to you. I feel like everyone can sense this really beautiful, deep spiritual energy exuding from you at this time. The fairies, you may feel like animals are drawn to you, animals respond to you. You may feel like you are surrounded by little elemental fairies, leprechauns, little playful deities. Your spirit guide, we've got so many different members of the spiritual realm coming through in this reading. So yeah, I think that says a lot about this energy. It's a very spiritual theme for you this year. I also feel like you are going to be, it's funny because I feel like you guys have this energy of wanting to step away from the world. You may feel the need to kind of go into hermit mode a little bit in 2025. You may feel like you're very overwhelmed when you go out in public, or you feel like you have everyone else's energies tugging on you, and you feel very aware suddenly of like how other people are thinking, feeling, what they're going through, and very tuned in to like this collective energy. But I also feel like with this letting go of urgency, over time, you learn to manage that a lot more and have some protections. Maybe you learn to wear like some obsidian or black tourmaline, and you learn to really protect yourself and have those boundaries up. I feel like once that happens, you're also maybe interested in stepping into the role of a healer. I could literally see some of you guys becoming like tarot readers or spiritual readers in some way. Or if you're already doing that kind of work, you may feel like you're very much leveling up, getting more acclaim with that. I feel like you're kind of going through trial by fire as well. There's a lot of spiritual growth happening, and spirit is kind of pushing you in that, pushing you to get better, pushing you to help people, pushing you to kind of be generous with your energy as well. So you may feel again like that's a major theme that just keeps happening. You meet people who need healing. And spirit also has a message for you that it's going to be up to you to enforce and create boundaries with that. So not overextending yourself, not overextending your energy. And I feel like if you're willing to do that, you actually could be very much elevated into a position of authority. So you may find that even though you start your, I don't know, psychic reading business, and first you're kind of like not getting so many clients, then through word of mouth, you start growing or you start gaining followers on Instagram or something, and then that becomes more of a reality for you. And I feel like you're learning, again, to just be very genuine with that. Trust the messages coming through. Trust your own gifts. And I feel like that growth happens throughout 2025, and you're learning to trust yourself more and more and more, and learning that you are that authority, and you start switching and stepping into that role more. I'm also hearing a lot of people are going to be actually talking about you in 2025. Your name is going to be on everyone's lips. People are going to be noticing you. And for better or worse, some of this is like hater energy, I'm not going to lie, jealous energy, but then there's also a lot of admirers. There's a lot of people that really like you, get you, and want to see you do well. And then there's also, I feel like, some people that are very jealous of you, but I feel like you are super divinely created, protected. Look, we have a lot of spiritual energy surrounding you. Your spirit guide came through twice. Your guardian angel came through. The elementals came through. Animals came through. So I feel like you are super, super, super protected. And I feel like, you know, there may be an element of karma happening for you this year, working through past life traumas, working through past life issues, and other people getting karma through their treatment of you. So you may even feel like sometimes like you get a lot of conflict directed at you in 2025. And I feel like sometimes that's like a karmic test for someone else. Because if they do react to you with jealousy or envy or just a negative energy, they may have that boomerang back to them and like really suffer the consequences of that. Let's get into some of these dice for pile number 2. So we got the 4th house, Venus, and Aquarius. So the 4th house, I mentioned the 4th house as one of the water houses that I'm seeing highlighted for you. The 4th house is ruled by Cancer and connects with the moon, and it's a very, very spiritual energy. Again, your spiritual abilities are going to be so on point. The other thing about it being ruled by Cancer is it can give off a really motherly energy. It can give off this energy that people just gravitate to Cancer because they see Cancer kind of as the mother figure, as someone they can open up to, as someone they can really be vulnerable with. And sometimes that can be for better or worse if you think about like all the work moms do, or how they can sometimes be like, oh, I didn't have a moment to myself. Oh, I've been working all day. So I feel like for you, in 2025, sometimes you're feeling a little burnt out. You may even feel the need to sleep and be at home. You may also be attracting really close friends. The fourth house is that house of our most private space. Stephen Forrest talks about this a lot, and it's something I also have always thought that the fourth house of family in like modern day society, I think also goes to like our closest best friends that we're so honest with, we tell everything to, that you probably feel a lot closer to than like their second cousin that's super distant that you talk to twice a year, maybe on the holidays, so those best friends, and you may start magnetizing and attracting more of those people. I also feel like you're really feeling the need to protect your energy and kind of stay at home. The fourth house is where we feel that sense of comfort, and that's why it's ruled by the crab, which has its little home that it carries on its back, and whenever it feels scared, it retreats back into that home. So I feel like for you, you may sometimes be like, I just want to like chill, I just want to veg out, and you may feel a little overwhelmed. I feel like especially at the beginning of the year, and that's okay. I feel like you're going through so much spiritual work, you're doing so much spiritual heavy duty lifting that like just listen to your body, rest and relax if you need to. Then we have Venus. Again, I feel like there's a lot of love coming through for you, whether it's friendships, whether it's romantic. I feel like you're going to be attracting the kind of relationships that are so much deeper, the kind of relationships that aren't just surface level, and honestly, the kind of relationships that I feel like you've always wanted to have in your life, where if you had to settle for mediocre relationships or people that didn't really have your best interests at heart, people that maybe you sensed there was a jealous energy, or they didn't really wish you fully well, or they were smiling, but you didn't know if they were happy for you, that's going out the window. And I feel like you're going to be really picky and discerning about who comes in. And with Venus as well, I feel like you're definitely going to be attracting, for some of you guys, a lot of love. Another thing about Venus energy, whether it's Libra or Taurus, is they often have like a roster. They have a lot of people that are interested in dating them, that like them, that are magnetized to them. And I feel like you are just going to be on everyone's lips. This, not in a weird way, but like your name is going to be on everyone's lips, is what I meant to say, as in everyone's talking about you. I didn't mean it in any other way, okay? But a lot of people are going to be noticing you. A lot of people are going to be crushing on you. You're just going to have this incredible charisma. If you have to go to any social events, people may remember you. They may talk about you after, like, do you remember that person? Did you see her? Did you talk to her? She was really cool. Or like, I loved her outfit. Does she live around here? Like, does she come here a lot? Wow, she was awesome. So yeah, people are definitely going to be noticing you. If you're wanting to be single or date, you may have a lot of opportunities to do that. And in your relationship, you may, if you're in a relationship, be kind of like changing the rules on that. Or if you're not, if there's anything that's been bothering you in your relationship that you haven't felt the need to voice yet, or that power to voice yet, that may be changing, and you're really going to advocate for yourself and say what you want in your relationship. Then we have Aquarius. Aquarius is always going to be dared to be different. We do have Pluto into Aquarius right now, as I just mentioned. And I feel like for you, you are definitely feeling that collective energy. You may feel the need to focus more on those kind of like large scale acclaim. Like in a way, I think sometimes if you have a larger platform, in a way, like those relationships that are like a distant friend can give you more privacy than when you have that really close up relationship and everyone sees you. So even if you have like 40 random friends that you're not super close to and you just talk about casual things with, you can in a way feel like you have more privacy than when you have those friendships where you're telling each other everything, you're going into details. And I feel like you're really learning to navigate that. Again, you may be getting some acclaim or even fame this year. The 11th house and Aquarius can be a fame house, especially in the modern day era with social media. Aquarius rules over social media, connects with social media, and modern technology. So I feel like you're really maybe using some of that, or even getting into like progressive or interesting new technology, or learning about like new ways to make money like cryptocurrency or something. I feel like you're very ahead of the curve, and you are kind of a trendsetter this year. So you may be very on point with your fashion, with how you dress and style yourself, and people are definitely noticing. You may even find some copycats around you this year in 2025, and people who just kind of want to like glom onto your energy. So I feel like learning to protect that energy is a major theme for you here in 2025. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 2. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about who is coming towards you, as well as one about, the beginning part of 2025, if you want more detail with that, as well as, you know what, I can't even remember because there's so many readings I post all the time over there. If you're interested, you can go see all the different titles we have. And like I said, you'll also get early access to my YouTube videos. You get to be the first to watch them. If that sounds good to you, then head on over to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, channeling, a combination, whether you would like it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your time with me, so it's the perfect session for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. And yeah, that's about all I have. And the link for that, by the way, is in my description. So that's about all I have to say, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the 4 of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, the Death card, the 3 of Wands, and the Wheel. So if you guys have been coming into 2025 feeling a little discouraged, feeling kind of bored, feeling like not a lot is going on in your life, that could very well be changing, because I feel like there is maybe a new job opportunity, maybe a new side hustle. For some of you guys, I'm literally seeing a physical move, like moving to a new place, moving homes, moving houses, and I feel like there's going to be some new excitement coming into your life. There may even be some kind of payoff, like an increase in salary, making more money, or getting some kind of validation, or getting some kind of praise, feedback, and kind of like people noticing what you've been doing, what you've been putting in, the work you've been putting in. So definitely with the 6 of Pentacles, that could be a pay raise or more money coming in, some kind of change in your financial situation for the better. I also feel like for some of you guys, I'm hearing laying down roots. So I don't know if someone's been thinking of buying a home or moving to a place, and it's like you're going to find the place that you really love and are ready to settle down in. Like you're ready to make that apartment, sign that lease, buy that house, make that happen, and make that kind of permanent commitment. But I feel like you're really going to enjoy this change. And actually, I feel like there's something that you're going to be putting a lot of work into this year that maybe at first you're like unsure about. And it's almost like the more work you put in, the more you realize, like, I really love this and I really feel fulfilled and I'm really actually enjoying this. And you know what? I'm so glad that I like stuck this out, or I'm so glad that I moved and changed and didn't continue in that old energy and embrace this new thing. But I feel like there's going to be that major payoff. And again, there's going to be kind of a level of mastery and success and really knowing what you're doing. I could see for some of you guys making a major change, especially when it comes to your career or what you do. With the Wheel of Fortune, you may literally be traveling somewhere new or exploring like a new culture. But the Wheel of Fortune is connected with Jupiter and Sagittarius. So it really could be that expansion, like deciding that you've been stuck in some kind of field for the longest time and you've just been doing that day in, day out, and realizing like, I don't need to do this anymore. Actually, I could completely broaden my horizons and I can move into this field. So you may feel like there's an opening up, especially of your financial situation, how you earn money, your career, and again, broadening your horizons, or feeling very limited, feeling very stuck, and then realizing you're not as stuck as you may have thought you were. You actually have more opportunities and more freedom than you realize. And that's a theme of the 4 of Cups. You can see that this guy is staring at all these knocked over cups and he's kind of depressed, but there's this beautiful cup in the background that's upright. And the 4 of Cups is all about realizing that, you know, we have the power to pay attention with our mind. what we focus on becomes something. So if we are really unsatisfied, we can change that. We can take our destiny back. We don't have to just continue to put up with a situation that's making us miserable or making us feel unhappy or unsatisfied. And I feel like you're really stepping into your agency. You may also feel like certain relationships that have been draining or haven't felt very fulfilling, they also fall off this year. We do have the death card. So that's going to indicate that this is a major transformation year for you. In 2025, you may feel like you're stepping into a totally new identity. You're shifting. And I feel like one thing that's coming through is you're not going to tolerate anything that makes you feel unempowered or where you don't really feel like you can live your best life, like you can be your happiest version of yourself. If anything has felt really unfulfilling to you and you've just been kind of going through the motions, I feel like for some of you guys, there's been an energy of being stuck in routine that may still be around when you enter into 2025. If you felt like your life was very boring or predictable, or you were craving some excitement, I feel like a message that's coming through is excitement comes through hard work. I know that's a weird message, but it's almost like, you only get to throw the big fun party at your apartment once you've cleaned it and once you've like done the grocery shopping and bought some like, food and alcohol and stuff for people to drink. Like you can't just snap your fingers and like throw a party last minute and have all your friends come over, or they may be kind of disappointed. Of course, if they're like your best friends, they probably won't care and they'll be like, oh yeah, we don't have any food, I'll just order something. But like if you invite like 50 people, some of whom are acquaintances, and you're like, I'm having a huge party, and they show up and there's nothing there, they may be a little disappointed. I'm reminded of this time I had a friend of mine and he threw a party and he was like, it's a barbecue, so just so you know, like don't eat too much. So I did, and I ended up like eating a huge breakfast and then being busy for the rest of the day. And I was like, perfect. Okay, I'm going to this barbecue. And I was like so tired by the time I came in. I was like, oh, I can't wait for this barbecue. I'm so hungry. It's going to be so good. And of course, when I showed up, he's like, oh yeah, people like didn't want to figure out the grill and everything. So yeah, there's no barbecue. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? And I was so annoyed. I didn't say that, but I was like, I might, and I literally left the party because I was just that level of annoyed. So that's my point, is like sometimes there's a little hard work that has to happen in order to make that fun, exciting moment. And I feel like that's something you're learning in 2025 is like, okay, how do I make my dreams happen? And maybe it's going to take a little commitment. Maybe it's going to take a little work. And you may get an amazing download from spirit on how to actually make that take place into your life. So instead of just thinking about it or dreaming about it or just continuing to put up with it, you may literally get an idea of like, okay, this is what I need to do and it's time for me to take action. So I feel like for some of you guys, you could be taking a very hard look at your finances, your investments. You may be opening another business or choosing to invest in something totally new. But I feel like you are definitely going to make some changes. And I feel like by the end of 2025, there's definitely more financial abundance. You have more money, and also you feel good about the changes you made. Like it's kind of like, I don't personally love a cleaning day. It's not my favorite day when you get to go through and like do the spring cleaning for your apartment or deep clean the kitchen and the bathrooms and and like scrub the grout and whatnot. That is definitely not my idea of like a great time. But of course, whenever you do it, afterwards you're like, oh, okay, everything feels so clean. Everything looks great. And it's kind of realizing the value of that earth energy and how even if it's not fun in the moment, even if it feels like hard work, it's going to pay off. So I feel like you're really doing that this year. You're starting to look at things and make changes. It's almost like this energy of growing up or maturing in 2025, making some kind of commitment, signing a lease, or putting down money for a house or like committing, being like, I'm all in. So yeah, for some of you guys, you may buy a house. You may sign up for a long-term loan or decide to make a huge purchase. And I feel like for some of you guys who are like commitment phobic, there's a little bit of fear with this. There's a little bit of like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But ultimately, I feel like you're very happy with it. And you actually end up loving the commitment and loving the things that bring brings in, it's kind of like you can only like there's fun in kind of like avoiding commitment. But if you're that person that's always being like, no, I just want to stay footloose and fancy free, you're never going to really build anything. And I feel like you're building something this year. You're making something happen that's going to have so many long-term consequences and so many long-term positive effects in your life and other people's lives. Again, some of you guys are going to be traveling, or if you're really in a situation that you're not happy about or you've just been putting up with, you may decide like, I'm not doing this anymore. I definitely have to make a change. And you literally may get a download about a brilliant thing you have to do, or somewhere you should move, or some book you have to write, or some kind of like, I should invest in this. I feel like you're going to be very focused on your finances. And by the end of this year, I really do feel like it's transformed and there's so much growth. There's so much positivity here. I also feel like some of you guys could be embarking on like a health and fitness routine and maybe making a commitment of like, you know what, I am going to work out, or I'm going to eat really healthy, or no more ordering takeout every night, or no more getting fast food. I feel like you're really committing to something and realizing how fun that is. There's also the vibe of possibly a committed relationship coming in. And I feel like, again, this relationship, it may be one that kind of pushes you to be a better version of yourself. Or if you've been like having fun dating or just being single, sometimes, of course, a committed relationship involves like compromise. Like maybe you don't want to watch that on TV, but you're like, oh, my partner really wants to watch that. And kind of like even in the moment being like, oh, this is annoying, but long-term really enjoying that. So I feel like if there is someone coming in for you, it may turn into something very, very serious that has a lot of long-term potential for like marriage, having a family together, and making that major commitment to each other. So let me get into these cards for you. Pile number 3. What's going to be happening for pile 3 in 2025, Spirit? What's going to be happening for pile 3 in 2025? Dreams. I feel like for some of you guys, this could be the energy of making a dream happen, like something that you put on the back burner a long time ago, or just thought, that's impossible, or that could never happen, or like, yeah, but there's just no way. And now you're like, actually, I think there is a way. And actually, I think that can happen, and I think it will happen. And I am just gonna like embrace that, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm actually gonna make it happen. I'm not gonna think about it or talk about it or dream about it anymore. I'm actually going to really do this. Like, if there's been something you've been putting off, like maybe you wanted to like go get your yoga certification, or if you wanted to like get a law degree, but you feel like, oh, maybe I'm too old, and you may decide like, I'm just doing it. I'm gonna go ahead for it. I'm not putting this off anymore. I'm not gonna be afraid of this anymore. Or if you wanted to like start a YouTube channel, but you've always been kind of embarrassed about being on camera, it's like that goes out the window and you're just ready to embrace and make this dream happen. I feel like you're also realizing kind of life is short, or time is short. So you're really taking every opportunity this year. And there's a theme of like not wanting to wait anymore, or not wanting to put yourself on the back burner anymore. Let's see what other cards we get for pile number 3 for 2025, fertility. So some of you guys may be even getting pregnant, or having a kid, or expanding your family. Again, there's definitely that theme of long-term commitment, and what could be more of a long-term commitment than a child? I mean, that's for life. You can't divorce your kid like you can with, a partner, or even a marriage. You can dissolve that, but you cannot get away from that parent-child relationship. So again, if there's been something, obviously, if you are committed to not having a child, then that's totally cool. And then, don't even worry about it. But I feel like for some of you guys, if you've had a little fear, like maybe you kind of wanted a kid, but then you're also like low-key a little scared or nervous about it, you may decide you want to take that next step. I also feel like for some of you guys, there could be something that you're working on for the majority of 2025, like something that takes a lot of work, in the same way that having a baby is like 9 months of carrying that baby. You don't get to see the baby, and then at the very end, obviously, that's when that baby comes out. But I feel like there's something like that, like there's a project that you're working on, there's something that you're doing that may take a little bit of time to finally come into fruition. ovulation. And it's kind of like how most of the labor during pregnancy is kind of invisible. You know, you don't see what's going on the outside. And if you see a pregnant woman day to day, you probably wouldn't even necessarily know anything's changing or that they're pregnant. Like if you see them, especially at the beginning, but even at the middle, even if they do have a bump, you might just be like, oh, maybe they ate a lot or whatever. And you wouldn't have any idea that they're actually creating this life and how special that is, right? And you only kind of see that at the full end. Like if you didn't know, if you were an alien that came to Earth and you saw a pregnant lady, you'd just be like, oh, she must have had a really delicious dinner, you know? But of course at the end you get to see the baby, you get to see the full fruition of that. And I feel like that is something that's happening for you. There's something you're working on, there's something that you're putting your effort into, and it may not be ready to blossom yet, or there may be a lot of work you put in and it's not fully ready to coalesce and come into reality. But by the end of the year, I feel like you're like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. It really paid off. Or you're very happy with the effort and the work you put in. Let's get into some more cards for pile number 3. So we got animals and career. And let's get one more card. Oh, good luck. Okay. Always love to see that. That always reminds me of Sagittarius, Jupiter energy. But career, like I said, it's a major focus for you. And I feel like a lot of you guys are tweaking and making changes to things that maybe you even wanted to change a long time ago. And now you have the bravery and the courage and the passion to really lean into that, step into that, and kind of do your all with it, you know. If there's been like a promotion you've wanted to go up for and you've been kind of holding yourself back with that, or you've been like, I don't know, it's like Spirit is saying, what are you waiting for? And I feel like you're gonna really feel that. There may even be, I'm hearing from Spirit that there may be certain like shocking rude awakenings, like negative events that happen towards the beginning of the year, like disappointments. Like maybe you wanted to get a promotion and you see a really ambitious coworker who's very aggressive about it, and they end up getting that promotion because they like hounded the boss and like what took them out to dinner every night, and you end up being like, what the heck, I can't believe I got edged out of this promotion. But the thing about that is I feel like ultimately it's a blessing, because there's like almost this fire that gets lit underneath you, and I'm seeing summer highlighted for that. So during the summertime you may feel like it really comes up for you, like, I need to push myself, or I need to do this, or why am I holding myself back? Why am I not doing it? It's kind of like how sometimes you'll see like major actors or actresses or celebrities, models, whoever, and you think, wow, they're so beautiful or something. Why don't they get more roles? Or why don't they go out for this? Or why have they put out all these bad songs for their, albums? Why aren't they like using their best songs for their singles or whatever? And it's almost like everyone else can see it, and it can be so frustrating because you see that potential, and then you see that person just like, oh, I don't know, not really doing anything. And then you see that person that's a really ambitious hustler, and even if they are more mediocre, they're not as good of an actor, they're not as attractive, they don't have as many good songs, but they keep hustling and they make it happen. And I feel like there's an energy with that, with if you have kept yourself in the back seat, so to speak, or if you have not put yourself center stage, that energy is over, and you're really gonna lean into your ambition and start being like, okay, I'm going to embrace this and I'm going to go after it and I'm going to make this happen for myself. And you may find that once you do that, I'm hearing you make your own luck as well with that good luck card coming out. So it's almost like you start being like, oh my God, I did get that promotion, or I did get that connection. I also am getting the message that some of you guys are going to be very charismatic this year. So you may find you make new friends, or you start aligning yourself with new groups. I'm hearing for some of you guys, there could be a totally new friend group. And I feel like this friend group could be very upwardly mobile, ambitious, even a very glamorous friend group. I feel like you could be hanging out with people that are really interesting, maybe some world travelers or some people that just have like lived the most vivid, interesting, cool lives. And I feel like you're really leaving behind an energy of keeping yourself in the shadows, not keeping yourself in the spotlight. So even people that you may have slightly intimidated you in the past, now you're like able and willing to hang out with them. Let's get into some of these cards for you. Um, pile number 3. So we got attachment, longing, desperation. This one is connections, partnership, contract, commitment. Definitely. Angels of the 7 chakras, power, truth, connection, and ancestors, historical connections, and purposes. Wow. And I definitely pick up on that connections, commitment card, because again, that seems like a major theme. I feel like some of you guys, if you have been not wanting to make connections, if you have been kind of afraid of like laying down those roots, getting really deep, connecting with someone and kind of like signing on the dotted line, like signing that lease or making that commitment to someone. I feel like that's starting to leave, and you're going to be actually ready to take on those greater roles. So for my single girls, this could be a great year to really find your soulmate, really find someone that you want to kind of work with. And work is the word, because I do feel like sometimes, with romantic relationships, there's a lot of soul work, a lot of soul growth that ends up happening. Not every relationship, I think, a lot of times we find our greatest soul growth sometimes through other people, because it's like they challenge us, they're different from us. Even if we feel very aligned with them, they're always going to question or call into question our own triggers, our own issues. Sometimes it's easier to stay alone, because it's like, I don't have to be patient and like watch someone else's TV show. I don't have to make dinner for 2 people and worry about what they want to eat. I don't have to think about sleeping next to someone who may move around in their sleep. That's one thing I really can't do. I have to kind of have my own space when I'm sleeping sometimes. But, you find yourself pushing yourself to be a better version and to open yourself up more and to find more compassion, to find more empathy, to find more room in your heart. And I feel like that's something that's happening for you guys. Or if you're already in a relationship, you may find that deepening. You may also be willing to have those hard conversations or bring up things that have been bothering you. If in the past you just kind of like overlooked them or acted like, hey, it's no big deal, you may feel like, you know what, I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to mention it. I'm going to say it. And it is what it is. You may also feel very connected with your ancestors. Some of you guys may create an ancestor altar, or I'm seeing some of you guys travel back to a place where your ancestors came from. So, if you are ethnically English, you may go back to see Stonehenge or go back to the hometown that your ancestors are from. Or if you are, Japanese, maybe Japanese American, you may plan a trip to Tokyo, or just creating like a shrine, talking to your ancestors, asking for help. Your ancestors, any departed loved ones, may be very, very strong around you in 2025. And I feel like they're also very interested in you kind of alchemizing and becoming the best version of yourself. Let me get into some astro dice for you. Pile number 3. So we got Mercury, okay, the 10th house, aka Capricorn, and we got double Capricorn. So let me spin this one more time. Cancer, okay, very different, opposes Capricorn on the astrological wheel. So we have a lot of astrological diversity at play. So starting off with Cancer, Cancer is the 4th house of home. Again, I could see a lot of you guys renovating, signing a lease, redecorating, moving homes, and possibly like traveling or deciding to live somewhere else. I feel like a major theme this year is getting out of your comfort zone. The 4th house, Cancer, really is where we find our comfort zone. I love what Stephen Forrest says, that Cancer is the energy of like taking off your jacket at the end of a long workday and like throwing it on the couch and pouring yourself a glass of wine and just relaxing. I think that's such a great summation of Cancer energy. It's just that place where we feel like, oh, I can relax, I can chill, I don't have to be so stressed. But I feel like for you, it's actually about getting to that like comfort place by learning to work. Like it's kind of like how, I love that show Hoarders, and I don't know why. I think there's a lot of like wisdom in that show. And I feel like one of the things about it to me is it shows, maybe as a Pisces, since we have the tendency to very much look on the bright side and be like, la, 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 it's okay. And it shows like the logical extension of that when it really crosses into extremely dysfunctional territory. So like you'll see people who are like, here's my beautiful kitchen, and they're literally standing on piles of trash, and you think like, are you just not, like, how can you even think that? But it's almost like they've blocked it out and come to that place of extreme delusion. So my point in bringing that up is like, in order to have a beautiful house, it also involves that hard work where you get down on your hands and knees and you're scrubbing those floorboards and you are taking out the trash and you're washing those dishes, even if you don't have a dishwasher or your dishwasher broke and you're having to hand wash them, or redecorating it and like searching online or going to estate sales or going to furniture stores and finding a really cute table and chairs and being like, should we repaint the walls? Or should we like change the wallpaper? Or should we change the floors out? And it's a lot of hard work, right? Like sometimes you see someone and they're renovating their house and they're renovating it for like 2 years and they have to live in a hotel for part of the time, or they have to live in one part of the house and they're not allowed to use the kitchen for 6 months. And it's like this whole process, but that's what gets you that beautiful, beautiful fourth house space that is like so comfortable. It's almost like as well, I think some crabs, not all, but some crabs like shed their skin or lobsters at least do this. I know that for sure. They shed that little hard shell. So Cancer, the crab, it shows us that if we really want to get to that beautiful comfort zone where we can feel so at home and just like, easy. We can't just skip ahead to that process. We can't just like be like, I just want to relax. So I'm just not going to clean anything up. I'm just going to like chill. I don't feel like doing the dishes, to be honest. So I'm just not going to do them, because then that leads to ultimately like a hoarding home, like those horror homes you see where there's trash piled up in the corner. There's no dishes, there's nothing clean, and that is not a comfortable space for anyone. Or just, I'm just going to accept this house as it is. I'm just going to buy a bunch of mismatched, ugly furniture and sit on like a cardboard box that I like taped into place. And I'm just going to do that. That's not going to be as comfortable as if you take that time and do the research and buy a beautiful, nice chair for yourself to sit in and matching table, and you put a vase of flowers there and you get the fresh flowers. So even though it takes some time and work and it's not an obvious part of the fourth house, that is something that Cancer to me represents. And that's what I'm feeling for you, is like the payoff that comes when at the end of the day you're willing to embrace that work. And that to me is a theme for 2025. And I do feel like by the end of 2025, like I said, there's huge financial gains, there's huge monetary gains. I also feel like with Mercury, you're taking a hard look at those details. Mercury rules over Gemini and it also rules over Virgo. And I'm really seeing Virgo highlighted. Gemini as well does this, but Virgo is like the master editor, the master surgeon, super detail oriented, super like paying attention to not just doing it, but doing it right, doing it well. Like, I'm not just going to hang this painting. I'm going to measure it. I'm going to like put up one of those little liquid things. I don't even know, that little bar that has liquid in the middle that shows you the level or how even it is. Like, I'm going to make sure it is done right. I'm going to do it correctly. I'm not going to do it sloppily. Again, opposing Pisces on the astrological wheel, which Pisces is kind of like, oh, it's all good, who cares? Virgo is like, I care, and I'm going to make it exactly right. And I feel like that's an energy you're carrying with you. Like, you're really paying attention to details. You're really noticing everything. You are really making sure that it's done right. And I feel like that is something that transforms this year for you. So by the end, if you come into this year with debts, if you come into this year with, I don't really love my career and I don't feel fulfilled and I'm not making as much money as I want, it's kind of like that, being willing to put that hard work in and look at the details and look at those things that are kind of boring. This is why Virgos also make excellent editors for like writing, for books. There's so many great Virgo writers, editors, publishers, because it's like they're going to go through a manuscript, pour over it, and correct all those grammatical details that a lot of us don't really want to do that. It's not like a fun use of time, but Virgo understands the importance of that, right? And that it's going to be such a better book if those editing issues are taken care of and all the little typos are out. I mean, I have read books before, and it's so funny how you could read an entire like huge book, like a 400-page book, and on page 350 there's like a small typo and it immediately like stands out to you and you're like, oh my God, did someone edit this? Like, how did this get published? And even if everything else is perfect, it's kind of jarring. And so I feel like for you, you're really taking a look at everything. You're really fixing things in your life. Also, Virgo is that sixth house of health. I do see that as a theme for some of you guys, changing your health, being willing to put in work for your health, being willing to transform your health, alchemize it. And like I said, deciding to eat healthier, deciding to lose weight or transform how you look and doing it in a way that really embraces hard work. Also, the sixth house is your house of your daily routine, daily schedule. So some of you guys may be choosing to switch up with that or even embrace a tougher schedule. Like maybe you've been like, I love to sleep until noon and that's just how I am. I'm a night owl. And then you find like, you know what? I'm going to push myself to wake up at 8 a.m. And I really love that. And I get so much more done and I'm so much more productive. And I feel so much better now that I started waking up at 6 to do a little meditation and work out quickly before I start my day or whatever. But I feel like you're really, again, embracing this hard work. And trust me, it is going to pay off. Kind of reminds me of how, sometimes people will look at like, and talk about Capricorn energy. Kim Kardashian, I think, is a Capricorn. And she said the most Capricorn thing ever when she said, get off your butt and work or whatever. And but it's so funny because you would think like someone like Kim Kardashian, she'd just like have the easiest life. Like you'd think, God, if I had that money, I'd just be chilling, I'd just be relaxing. But whenever she shares her schedule or like on the show, she's always like working so hard, right? She's just so busy. It's kind of hard to imagine. Like, you're like, why? I think even she got into that with Kourtney, right? She and Kourtney got into the fight where Kourtney's like, I don't want to work all the time. I don't need to work. I'm a mom. Why are you on my case about this? But that's a very Capricorn thing to be like, why wouldn't you work? Like that's part of the identity of Capricorn ruling the 10th house career. But yeah, I feel like for you, it's like when you think about Kim, she does have a lot of success. She did alchemize a career that was kind of a silly, like little influencer career into being a huge megastar. So there is something to be said for just working and pushing yourself to exhaustion and showing up and being there. And that's something Capricorn and Virgo and Taurus, all the earth signs understand more than anyone else. Again, with that Capricorn, I feel like you guys are doing really well in your career. You're getting that acclaim. People are noticing you. People are taking note. And there's a lot of success coming in for you by the end of 2025. I feel like you're really switching things up. If you have been not making as much money, I feel like this is going to be a good financial year for you. You're making new investments. You are transforming things in your life. And it's in the way that I feel like is going to have really lasting implications beyond 2025 and 2026 into your future. Like this is a year of change, transformation, and doing all the hard things that maybe in the past you thought you couldn't do. And this year you are doing it. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 3. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. And you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about who is coming towards you. Also a reading about the early part of 2025 if you want more details about that, more specificity with that. But there is so much content. I can't even remember because I post stuff all the time. I can't even remember the last one I posted. I think it was about what you need to do to change and have success. So that would be actually a great one for you guys to watch. But like I said, there is so much content over on Patreon, and you also get early access to my YouTube videos. You get to be the first to watch all these YouTube readings. If that sounds good to you, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me over there. Also, if you would like to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, whether you want it to be focused on tarot, astrology, just some open channeling, a combination. You get to really customize your session, so it's the perfect reading for you. You can also get a pre-recorded reading, do a live session with me. So there are lots of options over there. If you're interested, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile four, welcome to your reading. So you guys got the Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Cups, the Nine of Wands, Seven of Wands, Four of Pentacles, and the Prince of Cups. So it really seems like you guys are going to be reaching new levels this year. I feel like your career is a main highlight that Spirit is wanting to talk about. There may be a lot of challenges, and I feel like there may be a lot of competition directed at you in 2025. It feels like people are noticing you. People are taking note, and there's a message I'm getting that it's almost like the higher you rise, the harder it gets, right? So it's kind of like, I guess a good metaphor could be like the course level, the coursework you're going to get if you go to school at like just, a community college, still a great option, but it's probably going to be a bit harder if you end up going to Harvard, right? But then maybe that diploma means more if it says Harvard on it. So that's the thing, is I feel like for you guys, there's almost like more challenges coming in and you're having to push yourself. You may feel like you're faced with some obstacles. You may feel like there are people who kind of come against you or are slightly competitive with you, or sometimes try to kind of like nip at your heels or block you. And I feel like you are going to have to overcome that. But I do see a lot of success. So it feels like ultimately in the end, you are definitely moving things ahead. You're able to overcome, and you may end up getting a big financial or career boost this year and doing a lot better in that. So it's almost like that message that even though 2025 may be a challenging year or may have a lot of challenges and difficulties, that you absolutely can get through it and you'll absolutely be able to work through it. I do feel like with the Seven of Cups, there could be a tendency for escapism. So especially if you are like working at a job and it's really stressful, you may find yourself daydreaming, thinking of an ex. I'm feeling like an ex energy around some of you guys. And Spirit is telling you a message of being kind of like realistic and present in the moment. I think sometimes when we have a lot going on in our life, or we're just in a very difficult energy, there's a lot of work around us, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of hard to deal with. It's not the easiest time for us. It can be easy to like look back at the past or romanticize certain things or idealize certain things, like, oh, well, if that had worked out, that would be amazing. But the reality is like, all things in life are hard, just in different ways. You know what I mean? Nothing in life is perfect. And I feel like Spirit is wanting you to know that if there's been something on your mind lately that you've been feeling really wistful about, or feeling really like, I wish that had happened. This may also be a theme for you going into 2025, where you're thinking back to like the road you didn't take, or something that you missed out on, or maybe a misconnection. I feel like for some of you guys, this could be romantic, or very wistful thinking about someone that, it didn't work out with romantically or whatever. And there's that message that one, everything that's meant to work out for you will. And two, the reality of it is very different from the actual reality. It's kind of like when you travel internationally, and even if you did your research, you know what to expect with the cuisine and the food and the climate and the people and everything. It's always going to be slightly different. Even if it lives up to exactly what you imagined, the actual reality of being in a place is always going to feel different, for better or worse, than, the thought you had in your head, the dream you had in your head. And there's always going to be downsides. Even if you love a place, there's always going to be things that bother you, or stressful days, or frustrations, right? And I feel like that's the thing, is no matter how much a situation may be good for us, there's always going to be those times when we feel like we're pushing, we're fighting, it's hard. And that when that happens, there can be a tendency towards escapism. I feel like Spirit wants you to know you're building something really amazing, and that really is happening in 2025. Like, you're able to make inroads and you're able to grow. And even though it may not seem like it, I'm also hearing kind of this message about even the mightiest oak falls with 1,000 strokes of the axe, which is a quote I love, meaning sometimes it's just about persevering, which is something these higher level one cards understand really well. Sometimes it's just about who's the last one standing, who's just got that resilient, who's just willing to stick it out and push through and work hard. And I feel like that's something that Spirit wants you to know if you are going into 2025 with this energy already, where you've been feeling like you've just been putting work in, and it hasn't paid off, or you're wondering like, okay, but like, so this is just another year of work. Oh my God. I feel like Spirit is saying you are making really great inroads and you are building something and it is going to pay off eventually. So it's almost like don't allow pessimism to take your eyes off the prize or to make you think that like, oh, I don't know if this is worth it. This isn't working out. Because I do feel like it is working out for you and it is going to pay off so much. I feel like you are going to be very happy with the outcome. So yeah, that is a message for 2025. Is like there's a big focus on work. There's a big focus on achievement. I feel like a lot of you guys are going to be achieving your dreams. But we also do have some romantic energy coming in with this Prince of Cups. So if you are, wanting some romance, wanting some love, maybe you're single and wanting to date, we do have a Prince of Cups. That could be someone who's very charming, very romantic. I feel like for those of you guys who are in a relationship, you may be deepening those feelings, deepening those connections. And Spirit is saying as well that there's some message about getting more vulnerable with this person. So you may meet someone, or if you're already in a relationship during 2025, you may find that it's almost like things get deeper and deeper. Even if you already were in a serious relationship, you may find yourself opening up to this person more and more and showing yourself more. And there's a feeling of like even healing things from past lifetime South Node stuff with this person. So this person may bring out like sometimes, I don't want to say traumas, but fears, or like, oh, I never let this person see this side of me, or I never got this vulnerable before. So this could be a really deep connection. And again, there's that message that sometimes the lived reality of something is different from the dream of it, right? Like I always say, it's funny, when I lived in LA, you run into celebrities, right? And sometimes it's like really cute celebrities that you're like, maybe you had a crush on him, or when you see him in person, you're like, oh, he's really cute. And the thing is that always sounds so great, right? And I think before I lived in LA, I would have been like, oh my God, running into like, oh, some cute guy, like some cute A-list celebrity guy at the grocery store. Wow, what a dream. But the actual reality, when you're like, you just came back from the gym, you ran to the grocery store to get some like food quickly, and you make eye contact with like an A-list celebrity guy, it's like there's no part of you that's like, yes, this is great. You're like, oh my God, I'm so self-conscious. My hair is greasy from like sweating, and my makeup is like not looking good right now. My face is red, or, this is not the cute outfit. And again, I think it's like, it's so easy to fantasize or to have an idea of something. How we actually live that out in reality is just going to be different. It's not worse, but it may not feel as glamorous or exciting. It kind of reminds me of, yeah, like traveling to any place. Like Spirit is bringing up in my mind going to Tokyo and just being amazed at how different it was. And of course, there's amazing things about Tokyo and things that are so cool. And then there's also frustrating things like not speaking the language, not being able to navigate as easily because you can't even read, the kind of text, because the letters are so different from like English or whatever, for me at least, as a native English speaker. But yeah, it's like there's always going to be frustrating parts, not being able to ask anyone for directions, or feeling like, I don't even know how to navigate that. Some of the apps people use to like find a location are maybe different in Japan. So you might not be able to use Google Maps, right, as easily. And my point is just saying that it doesn't mean that like Tokyo is horrible. It just means it's going to be different. There's going to be frustrations. You still might want to go to Tokyo. And by this same metaphor, what I'm trying to say is just because there's frustrations in something doesn't mean you have to like give it up or be like, oh, this sucks, this is horrible. And I guess what I'm saying for you guys is I feel like there may be a relationship that comes up, a job that comes up, where it's like you're making so much inroads and so much progress. And there's a message to make sure you're kind of willing to stick that out, focus on the good. And some of it is your mental mindset of not just like focusing on all the negatives, but focusing on the positives. Of course, if you're in a toxic relationship or something that you're constantly stressing out about, you're having anxiety about, you feel like this sucks, then of course you could say, you need to listen to that. But the message I'm getting for you in 2025 is like, you are doing something so valuable. You're building something so big that has this amazing long-term potential. And some of it is just a matter of fighting through and standing your ground and not giving up. And I feel like if you can do that, there is going to be more blessings coming in for you later on. And it's almost like that slow and steady progress of like building something one step at a time instead of getting it all at once, kind of like someone who earns their money over time versus wins the lottery. And I think they found that people who win the lottery tend to lose it. Like 95% of people will lose all their money within a few years. And then like someone who's like earning that at their job step by step, it's a lot less likely that they're going to go blow it on like a beach house and buying jet skis and like throwing, money around at a club in Vegas or something. So they're going to be a little bit more reasonable. So that slow and steady approach is often the best. And I feel like that's what's going on in 2025. It's like a gradual progression, but you guys are doing a lot, getting a lot done. Let me get into some of these cards for you. Pile number 4. So we want to know what's happening for pile 4 in 2025. Okay, so we got sensitivity and strength, tapping the forces within. Okay. Beneath the surface, hidden truths, something unknown. Archangel Raziel, wisdom, inspiration, Akashic records. And up from the depths, releasing difficulty. Okay. Let me get one more. Connections. Partnership, contract, commitment. What I'm also getting is there's an energy in this pile about being brave enough to let someone really see you, or being brave enough to stick it out. I think, again, speaking myself as a Pisces, and we are known for being escapists, and I definitely think I am, I definitely get a little charge when I'm just like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to go do something else. I think that's a Jupiter ruled thing. I assume maybe that's why Spirit is bringing up travel, because I think Sagittarians get the same vibe when they're like, you know what, I'm just going to pack my stuff up and I'm traveling to Thailand or something, but I feel like at the end of the day, what you realize is once you do that escapism, once you kind of like swim away from the problem, you realize that that problem is still there. So when you have to come back from Thailand, even though it may have been the most amazing vacation there, whatever you were trying to escape is still there. And that's why sometimes it's actually the braver thing, even though people may be like, oh, that's so brave. You flew across the world, or you totally embarked on this new endeavor. There's actually sometimes more bravery when you're willing to just stay there, stick it out, and just kind of like almost push yourself to deal with it, push yourself to be strong. And also, I think another underrated thing when it comes to like relationships is push yourself to really be willing to go there when it comes to like intimacy. Because I think also it can be easier to kind of keep people at arm's length or not let someone fully in, because then you have to be vulnerable. Then they may see you for who you really are, all your weaknesses, all your flaws, all those things that we like to hide or we may be embarrassed or ashamed of. So letting someone in on that level can feel really, really scary. And I do feel like for some of you guys, there is just that message that like you are ready for that kind of relationship and it may be coming in for you in 2025. You may be meeting someone where you're willing and able to go so deep. And if you're in a relationship, you may find yourself really tested of like fears coming up, fears of commitment, anxiety with that, or like, I like this person, but also, I don't know, like marriage freaks me out or something like that. And really being willing to kind of like commit and drill down and go there and push yourself. I feel like this definitely could have to do with career as well. You may be having to use your resilience this year. I feel like this is a growth year. I don't want to say it's a Saturn year, but I because I don't like want to give it a negative connotation, because that's the thing is I really feel like in a way, some of the most benefic transits you'll go through counterintuitively, in my opinion, are like Saturn transits and, Pluto transits and Mars transits, because that's what moves things forward. Jupiter and Venus, as fun as they are, they're benefics, but they just kind of make things easier. So it's kind of like I don't know if I mentioned this on here before, but I speak a little Italian, and it's funny when I go to Italy, sometimes people will be like, "Oh wow, that's amazing, you speak Italian." And I'm like, it's not really that amazing because I actually took it for 3 years in high school, right? So I should probably be fluent. I should probably be able to have like a full conversation, and the fact that I, can just barely get by in conversation is actually pretty bad. And that's the thing, is the reason I had taken that class was because everyone said, "Oh, this teacher's really easy. She's super cool. She'll let you get by." And she totally was. It was like one of the easiest classes. Going to class was great. She was super funny, kind of like a comedian, and she'd end up just talking with us and like chatting with us. So for me, who really didn't care that much about learning a language, it was like fantastic, great. This is exactly what I wanted, right? But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, damn, I wish I had worked really hard and taken language seriously, whether it was Italian, whether it was like Spanish or French. I wish I had been willing to do the work and buckle down and take it with like a hard teacher. And that's kind of like how benefics versus the malefics work in our chart. As much as no one really likes the Saturn transit, Saturn is that hard teacher that you learn so much and your life is better afterwards. I always say my favorite transit has been Saturn in the first house, which is still not out. So maybe I don't want to jinx myself, because maybe, things will change before it leaves my house, my first house, in about a year. But for now, I really have loved the changes it's made. And it's been the hardest transit, but also the best, because I feel like I've had to take a look at really hard, difficult things and make those changes. Whereas when Neptune was in my first house, which it was for a while, everything kind of seemed glossy and gray. But when I looked back, it was like, I should have been harsher on this. I should have worked better at this. And that's the thing. That's why I get like Saturn year vibes for you guys. I feel like you're changing things. You're working through things. You're pushing yourself to address things. And you're going to be so much better off at the end of that. Like, you're really drawing on your own reserves this year. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a year that some of you guys pay off debt or make like a payment plan or decide to pivot careers, and you're working really hard. Like, you're showing up in the office at like 8 a.m., or you decide, I want to, make this hobby I have into a business. And it's work. It's not easy. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to show up and, it's sold out immediately on the first day, like a Jupiter energy or a Venus energy. It's like a Saturn day. Like, I had to wake up at 6 a.m. No one showed up at my booth. I sold like maybe one item every couple hours. And by the end of the day, I had sold a lot, but it was hard and I had to push for every sale. But you're going to be so much better off for that. And it's going to be better for you than if it just fell into your lap easily. I've seen people making TikToks about, when I wish I could go back in time because I had a super viral YouTube account that had like 300,000 subscribers when I was 12, and I deleted it because I was embarrassed, and now I wish I could go back. And I completely understand that. Like, I think in a way, the easier something comes to you, the more it falls into your lap. The people that maybe go viral on their first time on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, it's like they're not going to take that as seriously. They're not going to be as grateful for it. Sometimes it's those things that you have to commit to, you have to drill into, that spirit kind of withholds for you. That's actually spirit's way of making you commit, making you say, I want to do this. And it's funny because Raziel is an angel of manifestation. So again, I feel like a lot of you guys, this is actually helping you to build things. We even have the Akashic records highlighted. So we have, a connection, like I said, with the South Node, working through past traumas, working through things that may be like avoidant, like, let me get away from this is painful. Touch it when you have like a planet touching your South Node, like a Mars transit over the South Node, or you meet someone and there's a really tight conjunction to the South Node, it can often feel painful. Those connections can be triggering in the synastry chart. Obviously those connections can be really triggering because it's like that person knows all your wounds, and it can feel like, oh, let me get away from this. But there's often also, in my opinion, so many ways to alchemize that South Node stuff. It's almost like those connections that are just easy and we're never challenged, and they just really don't do anything for us. They don't really force us to change. They don't really push us. We're not actually growing. And sometimes it's through those connections where we're really working on ourselves and we're really having to like, oh, this is like challenging me, that we end up doing the most growths. So I do feel growth, singular. So I do feel like for you guys, you are having parts of your psyche revealed. Like this is a very intense year for you. It may feel like a difficult year at times, but I also feel like there's so much forward momentum. And I also feel like you guys are, by 2026, I'm not saying it's going to be like, woohoo, end of year celebration, everything gets easy. But I do feel like what you're building is so much stronger. And that's the thing, is like, when it comes to earth signs, that's a hard work energy, and it also tends to have more longevity. Like Taurus is the master builder. Also, spirit is showing me in my mind Gordon Ramsay, and I think it's so funny because he's a Virgo moon, and I just think that's so perfect. Like he literally has the perfect job for a Virgo moon. He gets to go into restaurants and like inspect the kitchen and like find grime and then start screaming about it, which is so like Virgo moon to me. And he gets like genuinely emotional and like enraged about like there's dirt on this or something, which I totally understand. Obviously it's like food safety, it's putting people's health at risk, but it's just like it's so like Virgo to be that emotional, Virgo moon especially, that emotional about like how clean someone is keeping their kitchen. But that's kind of like, also I was so unsurprised when I saw that, because I'm like, it's such a dream job for like an earth moon to go through and just be so harsh on someone and just like break them down, especially with a Virgo, where it's just like, you know, Virgos kind of love to criticize a little bit. So it's just like this carte blanche to be able to criticize so much. But that's the thing, right? When you think about it, as much as the people can look like kind of shell shocked on Kitchen Nightmares when he's coming through and criticizing like the kitchen, and he's completely destroying like their decor and just being really insulting, at the same time, like he does help them make changes, I guess. I don't know how successful some of those businesses are after he leaves, but my point is that like he's making valid points. He's not wrong. And that's sometimes the hard thing we don't want to deal with Virgo or Capricorn or Earth's criticism in general. It can be like, oh my God, you don't appreciate anything, or like, you're being so harsh, but there's a kind of like benefit of the harshness. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those earth signs, they're not wrong when they say you did a bad job. You did a janky job on this. You didn't do it right. It's like, if you really did take that Virgo perfectionism, then it would be done correctly. You know what I mean? And Virgos and Capricorns, I feel like know that. And that's why they get so emotionally invested in this. But yeah, I feel like for you, that's my point, is like sometimes, as much as we don't want to hear it, we kind of need a Gordon Ramsay in our life to come in and be like, that's messed up, that's messed up. I'm not saying you're going to have that kind of a year, but I feel like you're kind of doing that to yourself. You're taking a look at things, you're switching things up, you're changing things in your life, and honestly you're going to be so much better off. And whatever you build has that longevity. It's kind of like how Saturn as well, you know, Saturn breaks you down, but it also gives you those rewards. Like I said with my Italian thing, one of the things I've been surprised by when I visited Italy in recent years, was how much Italian I actually do remember and how easily it comes back, because I really thought I would like not know any of it. But like it does get into your head. And I wish I'd again taken it even more seriously so I could actually converse. But that's the thing, is like, it's almost like muscle memory, and those things do pay off. Those times when we do work on things, we may not even realize like it really did shape us. It's kind of like someone who goes to the army and they have some horrible little army man screaming at them and inspecting their bed and making sure it's all neat and tidy. But at the same time, they're going to wake up and make their bed every day, and it lasts. And that's going to be a benefit for them, that they're always going to keep their room neat. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do feel like it's very positive, even though it may be a little harsh as well. Let's get into some of these cards. What's happening for pile number 4 in 2025? Willpower. That's definitely probably the theme I would give this whole year. And you may also feel inspired to do new challenges with that courage card. We got spirit guide and protection. Yeah, you guys may feel inspired to take on a new challenge. I feel like that's the thing, is some of you guys are doing a lot of trauma and shadow work. You are working through like old issues that you had, or old things that you used to make excuses about. Now you're like, you know what? I need to address this. I need to do a good job. Like, I'm not going to write it off anymore. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to make, you know, little excuses for myself. I am going to take things really seriously. And I feel like because of that, you're able to move things forward. And then you're also able to maybe even level up and take on totally new challenges or go into totally new realms. Like it's like the sky is the limit after you address some of these things, you know? It's kind of like that day that you decide to deep clean your apartment and go through and change everything. And even though it probably wasn't what you felt like doing when you woke up that morning, like, oh, I can't wait to clean. But you're so much better after you've cleaned that, after you've wiped down every surface and scrubbed the floors and, you know, done the baseboards or whatever. You're going to feel so much better in that space and you're going to feel so much more functional. The energy's literally going to flow better. So even though it may not be something you like wake up like, ooh, I just really want to take out that vacuum, you're going to be happier that you did it. And you're going to be more free to like actually create in that space and enjoy that space and whatnot. So that's kind of, I feel like, what you're doing this year for your life. Let's get some astro dice for you. Pile number 4. So we got the first house. We got Neptune. And we got Sagittarius. Okay. So the first house of Aries, that is a house that is really brave, embraces challenges. Aries, of course, is ruled by Mars, so not afraid of a challenge. And also Aries placements and Mars placements tend to get a lot of challenges from other people. They tend to get a lot of people who may sometimes come against them, be competitive with them. Often people with prominent Aries or Mars, they find that challenges and competition is just a theme they always have to deal with, like an Aries ascendant, Mars in the first house. They may just constantly have people stepping up to them, being kind of rude to them, being aggressive with them, and they may find themselves having to constantly kind of fight, constantly stand up for themselves, right? They kind of attract that competition. Someone who's looking for a fight knows, okay, this Aries person will give it to me. And that's the thing, you guys may have to fight, defend yourself a lot this year. You may feel like people are kind of noticing you or that you're just on people's radar and that they are giving you this weird energy. But again, at the same time, I feel like it's a good thing. It's proof of the fact that you are doing really well. It's proof of the fact that you're taking names and people are noticing, you know, people are seeing the progress that you're making. People are seeing the name that you're building for yourself. So they are going to be a little competitive with you because of that. And that's actually not a bad thing because honestly, it shows how far you've come. It shows how far you're going and it shows how much potential you have as well for the future. We also have Neptune coming in. Neptune, of course, rules over Pisces. I already mentioned Pisces as being ruled by Jupiter, which we also have Jupiter's other planet, other sign, main sign, Sagittarius over here. But yeah, Neptune is an escapist as well. And Neptune sometimes doesn't like to deal with things, likes to live in Delulu land, likes to kind of live in dream world. And I do feel like there's an energy of you stepping away from that in 2025 and kind of like the benefit of hard work, the benefit of taking something on, the benefit of not just running away, but really digging down and dealing with it and cleaning it up and taking care of something instead of letting the problem just run out of control and just ignoring it and pretending it doesn't exist. So you may literally feel like problems come to your attention. Like I said, how that is coming up for me, how it's resonating with me is when Neptune shifted out of my first house at around the exact same time that Saturn shifted in. And it was like a double whammy of suddenly seeing everything so clearly and being like, oh my God, I need to change that. And it was like a very harsh dose of reality. But honestly, I'm so glad that that happened because I felt like the rose colored glasses fell off. And then at the same time, I had like the strictest teacher screaming at me and it all happened all at once. But honestly, that's such a benefit. I'd rather have that than have Delulu glasses on me for the rest of my life. I'd rather shift and change and be like, it's time to address this, or I could improve that, or, ooh, I need to be harsher on myself about that than just live in like fantasy land and just pretend everything's great, right? Because it's only through really admitting a situation that we can actually make that change. Then we can actually build and shift whatever it is. It doesn't even have to be a dire situation. It can just be, I'm not really happy with this, or I could be doing better, or I'm not living up to my full potential. And I feel like that's something that's really coming through for you this year. Like you are going to feel inspired to make these changes, and honey, they are going to pay off so well. Like you're going to be so glad that you did these things. You're going to feel like very much relieved of, okay, like I did that. I took care of it. I dealt with it. And now I can kind of move on to the next. And by that same token, again, with Sagittarius, how that's coming through for me is the Sagittarius escapism. That can seem really fun in the moment, really exciting, like, oh, I'm packing up my stuff and I'm flying on a trip to Russia, or I'm going to Brazil, or I'm, flying to New York City for the weekend. But it's like, what do you have to deal with when you come back? Like, have you ever packed your stuff up and you've been in such a rush and you didn't have time to like fix everything or clean everything before you leave? So like maybe your clothes are all, strewn around your closet because you were just like packing in a mad dash and everything's kind of a mess. And, you didn't have time to like clean up breakfast because you were like rushing out the door. And so you come back from the trip and you're like, oh God, this is awful. Like, this looks horrible. It's like that double dose of reality of like, you're back from your vacation and now you have to clean the kitchen and you have to sort back your clothes and put everything away. And it can be really depressing. And that's the thing. That's why it's important it's fine to like go seek out fun, but you also have to make sure you are dealing with things. You have to make sure that like you're actually taking care of business and not just escaping and doing what's fun and easy, because that actually doesn't move us forward. So I feel like that's the lesson you guys are learning in 2025. But overall, I think it's going to be a really positive year for you guys. You're moving things forward. You're making so much progress. And I feel like you're going to be so much happier by the end of the year. And whatever you're building in 2025, trust me, there's going to be so much longevity. You're going to really be able to make it last, make it work, and just grow from this experience so much. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 4. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about who is coming towards you, as well as more detail on the early part of 2025, and also a reading about how you can get blessings flowing into your life. So there's lots of content to choose from over on Patreon. And like I said, you also get early access to my YouTube videos. You get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. If that sounds good to you, then head on over to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, a tarot reading, astrology reading, just a channeling session, whether you want it to be pre-recorded or live, you get to really customize your session with me. So it's the perfect reading for you. If that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. So take care, guys, and I will see you then. Bye.